Hello everybody, it's me, Karina. I hope you guys are watching this and I hope you guys are ready to learn about the evolution of the word tea. So, of course, when you think of tea, you're gonna think of the drink. You know, we have iced tea, jasmine tea, black tea, herbal tea, lemon ginger tea, whatever. Tea, you know what I mean, the drink. The hot beverage that's served, honestly, in a lot of places. But although it has evolved to a slang and a term that pretty much I would say my generation and the generation next after me and a little bit of the younger side of the millennials have learned. And it's pretty much the term, what's tea? Body is tea. Tea, like, give me the tea, like, you know, like, that's tea, like, your face is tea, you know, it has evolved to that. Now, we're not saying, like, oh my god, your body looks like a bag of tea. No. Like, we're not gonna say, oh, give me the tea, like, give me the drink tea. No. It means, what is the gossip? Before I even go on into that, before I even talk about how it's evolved, I will talk about how it originates. So pretty much, the word tea has originated from China, of course, and it's a word from the Dutch that was borrowed during a trade directly from Fiji, or Fiji, yeah, around there. And it was known as a tea drinking, of course, that originated from the southwest of China. Now, of course, when you also think of the word tea, you're gonna think of the Boston Tea Party, because, you know, you're gonna think of two British men sitting at a table, all fancied up, their white wigs curling up, drinking tea. You know, sitting around on a table. But no, the Boston Tea Party it's a political protest from America that was in 1773, where the Americans were mad at Britain for imposing taxation without representation, because over 342 chests of tea were dumped into the harbor. Now, because of that, created the Tea Act. The Tea Act was imposed because so many colonists had drank tea. I think that was the only thing back then people would drink, honestly, I think. And if it was, I'm a little bit concerned, because where's your water intake? But point is, though, is that later then, tea was boycotted by the British East Indian Company, and that allowed them to smuggle in Dutch tea. But because since they smuggled tea, it allowed that company to face bankruptcy. But since of the Tea Act being passed, this allowed this company to sell tea duty free and cheaper compared to other companies, but the tea was still taxed. There's not really a saying on really where the word first came from, you know, because it was known as a drink. You know, so a lot of people just use it as the term for the drink. Now, of course, in modern communication, in modern society, people are gonna know tea as the word for the drink. People, like older people, they will say, can I please have some tea? Do you guys have green tea, black tea, any type of tea? That's usually where it's known in the modern way. But although, since it has evolved to the younger side and the younger generation, it's expanded to gossip. We say, what's tea? So what's tea? By saying gossip, or give me the juicy information.
People look like they're expecting negative energy. So I'm like, what's tea? Tell T the tea.
My friends, I can use an example for me. I could say, my friends are gonna come up to me and tell me, so what's tea? Give me the tea, like, as we're all talking in a circle, like in the hallway or somewhere or anywhere. they're gonna come up to us and tell me what's tea. A FaceTime call from one of my friends, they're gonna tell me, so what's tea? No. Now there's another saying by Body is Tea, and it refers to calling someone's body hot. Get it? Hot tea. So pretty much is hot tea. So body tea, hot tea. It's kind of a dumb saying it. Pretty much in all terms, it just means hot body. Yeah.
I looked at you crazy because, bitch, you
All right,
look
no,
crazy.
Diamond, I'm
I
just
look
like,
crazy.
looked at me like, so I'm like, what's tea, boo?
And then, like I say, usually this word involved pretty much throughout social media, really, and I can say that because I use it myself, my friends around me use it myself, everyone around me uses it myself, my cousins, anybody, really. It's a social group from, I could say, my generation, Gen Z, and of course the generation after me, the newer generation, a little bit of millennials. It's a generational group. I could say a little bit of the millennials, like more of the early age millennials. Like even our professor knows. We all know that. Literally, she'd be like, "Give me the tea," like that, you know, like no. No, like I say, now if you were to ask somebody that's older, of course, they're not going to understand that term. They're not going to understand where the slang has come. Of course, because, you know, not a lot of older people are mainly on social media. But like I said, let me point it back to the direction that social media has created this word that from a drink, like relating to gossip or calling to somebody's body, which is, I don't know, but, you know. Now, of course, it still has the word for the drink. Of course, you can still go order tea anywhere you like, any types of tea, you know, any place. But now there's multiple meanings to it now. Now, I would not say it's an insult because you're calling like an insult would not be calling someone's body tea because you're saying somebody has a nice body, so that's not an insult. Nor do I think so give me the tea is not an insult either because you're just trying to understand the gossip from the word. So I wouldn't think it's not really an insult. I would say the compliment comes from body's tea, really. Now of course I can say this word is mainly through social media as well, because when you go on social media, we like to follow the latest trends, and we see on TikTok people start using this slang, and we pick it up as well. That's why I said it's mainly focused on the younger audience, because who's on TikTok? Who is on most of social media platforms? We are. Our age. Younger kids, maybe, like I said, the younger millennials, because we're on TikTok, we're on a lot of social media, and we notice these words, and we like to keep up with the latest trends, and we like to, you know, quote unquote be hip. We like to be hip to what's new, what's happening on social media. So of course, when we figure out this word, we use it, and then it evolves to everyone who's on social media. Now, of course, that's why there's multiple meanings to it now. I could say that too, because when I was like 10 or like 11 around there, body's tea was not a term for me, or that I knew of, you know, and I will say that this word has probably started coming out like about until last year, from what I know, from when I started using the word. Now, I don't know how long this slang has came out, but from what I know, from when I started learning about it, last year, for me. Now, of course, you know where I got it from? Social media. My friends from social media. And then of course, for someone who doesn't know where it is, we tell them we got it from social media. Social media is a big impact on most of the slangs now, especially because, like I said, they want to be hip. So, and I feel like social media doesn't like the smart way. They just want to have it the lazy way and create a slang for everything, you know, to make it seem cool, to make it incorporate in our texts, incorporate into anywhere, into our vocabularies. Now to talk about my personal experiences with the word, I can say I learned it through social media as well. I saw people using it and I'm like, ooh, what does it mean? And it adapted onto me. I feel like I use the term body is tea more than what's tea. I use body is tea as a form of a compliment to people, like telling people, yeah, you look really good, your body looks really, really good. You know, I see it all over TikTok where people on TikTok that would post themselves, you know, filling themselves or like showing off their outfit. People say that. And then I picked it up from there and that's how I learned it. I feel like now for me to say what's tea, I just tell people give me the tea or like got any tea pretty much. Like just trying to be nosy and understand the gossip. And really, I feel like my experiences are just from everybody's as well. Just trying to understand, you know? And I feel like even now, like you can see reality TV stars. Even reality TV, they use gimme tea. You know what I mean? You can probably find it on Love Island. Baddies. I know on Baddies they use the word tea. But I'm trying to think of other shows, but I know Love Island and Baddies do have that term. But, you know, and you can see in those shows, it's mainly the youngish adults, early 20s, late mid-ish 20s, where you can find these people using this term. Like, that's why I said a lot of the older people, they won't understand this word. Now, of course, the younger people do. Because guess what? They're on social media as well. They're on their shows are on social media as well, where like they're portraying it, showing clips of it. But you know, it's the common word, and I feel like a lot of words are gonna evolve now, especially because of social media, and especially because a lot of people just make a slang to everything. But other than that, I think we understood the evolution of the word tea, and I feel like we all get it. And I feel like we all say what's tea or body's tea. I feel like we all do. Or most people who are watching this do. But point is though, I hope y'all understand. I hope y'all got the most of this information, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. And maybe I'll make one of these again. But I hope you guys enjoy. Goodbye.
Hi, my name's T, and that's a wrap for T, bitch.